All right, so welcome. This is another Thirsty for Knowledge Thursday, the webinar series brought to you by the Ares Foundation for Financial Education, Inc. We this week are talking about different ways of creating wealth. But before we get, so we did tell you that this is presented by the Ares Foundation for Financial Education. You can visit our website, aresfoundation.org. Ares is A-R-I-E-S, for those who are just listening this evening. Aresfoundation.org. You know, our mission is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money. Because whether you realize it or not, everyone is in a relationship with their money. And just like any other personal relationship, there are emotional triggers and behaviors that occur that sometimes cause us to act maybe not the best or a little bit irrationally when dealing with our money. So you can check us out, go to aresfoundation.org, and just we're happy to answer any questions if you join us on the website. Real quick, there's one that I'm drinking tonight. This is fun. So this is Sweetwater Brewing. They're out of Georgia, and they have a line of beers that they call the 420 strain. So there is hemp, there's cannabis in this beer, basically, that they brew it. In this one, it happens to be their limited release, their chocolate stout. I was a little bit over aggressive with pulling the chocolate stout because I knew it was going to be a sort of a, oh yeah, wow, you can really smell the cannabis there in terms of dealing with that. That does smell. That we're going to be a little, colder and damper this weekend. Not really the greatest thing to be drinking on the 80-degree day. So we call these Thirsty for Knowledge Thursdays. This is also known as Think with a Drink. Our goal is trying to deliver education and information, but we want to do it in a very relaxed and casual manner. And we can't think of a better way to do that than to have something to sip on. Craig, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, it's not cannabis beer, I can tell you that.
Well, I got to tell you, it's strong.
I am drinking a simple diet green tea.
Okay, so one of us. So you know who's going to be driving the plane later on in terms of dealing with this. So from that side of it, but really the idea here is just to have it be casual, relaxed, and enjoy yourself and have something to sip along with us. Craig Skoll this evening for you from there. So wealth, and the reason we bring this up and start with the definition of wealth, and it's really more about that everybody defines wealth differently. And it's sort of, as far as going through that, it's like that whole, what is wealth to one person is not the same thing to another.
Well, right. It's all relative. A lot of it's relative to the lifestyle that you're living and the expenses that you have, right?
Different way. But why is it important, right? So there's a couple of different pieces on there and going through this. And health, when we talk about health, it's more about the ability to stay healthy, right? The ability to have care, to keep yourself in care, to do things that maintain a healthy lifestyle, whether that's eating better or doing those type of things. That's where the health component really comes in important. Happiness, they always say, money can't buy love, right? And going through that, but there are things just like health that you can do, and one of the things for us really isn't so much about happiness, it's more about related to health, which is worry or stress, right? So that's one of the areas where if I've got my bills are taken care of, or I've got, a way to take care of the next hiccup that comes up in my life, I'm not stressed about it. I'm not worried about paying the bills this month or next month. That's stress that definitely builds up over time and causes health relations. It also does the other. If I've got that taken care of, there's a worry that's off my table. I'm feeling better about myself, i.e. happy challenges, right? So this is really, and we've been, we're going to keep beating this up as we go forward in time with everything, but this is about having the ability to weather a downturn, and whether, like Craig just mentioned, whether it's I'm doing my job but I hate it, I want to leave but I can't because I don't have anything backed up in my savings that I could actually have some time off, or like last year, COVID, we had a quarantine, everything shut down. I don't have the ability to weather that storm. That's the unexpected challenge that we're talking about. That's the that's charitable, right? That's being able to give back, right? Everybody would love to give to charity, would all love to give more to charity. All right, so how is wealth created, right? So we're going to talk about some different methods here, and we mentioned it in in the pieces that is sort of that, get rich quick method, right? So, you've got the lottery, and we promised we would talk about that. Well, go ahead. The likelihood that it's going to come through for you, is not worth the ticket you scratched on. So that isn't really the case. Speculative investing, we did a whole piece on speculative investing, and speculative investing is fine, but you just have to be aware that more than likely the money that you are putting aside and putting into something that is of a speculative nature is that there's not going to be that return, that the more likely outcome is that the money is going to disappear when we're dealing with some of these. One of the better ways to be doing this is to be investing in yourself, right? So whether that's you're trying to invest in education so that you are improving yourself, which means that you can improve your earning capacity, you can improve what you're going to be able to make. Starting a business doesn't have to be brick and mortar. I'm starting a business. This is the world of the, what do they call that? The side hustle.
Yes, it's side hustle, right.
Right. But, one of these, that's another way to do it. And then you have real estate. Now, real estate does take assets, does take money to actually get into investing in real estate. Unless you're
A lot of these things, though, it's what I like is you're investing in yourself. You're betting on yourself and your abilities. That's, when you're putting your.
All right. So the slow and steady method, right? So some of this really, doesn't work for a lot of when we're talking generational sometimes with conversations, trying to talk to somebody in their 20s about saving for retirement really doesn't work, right? So it's like, wait, that, it's not one lifetime, it's like 2 lifetimes from what I've already lived, right? Before I get to retirement at this point. But the simplest and easiest way to accumulate more money is through some form of a systematic savings plan. And when I say that, I mean money is going from your paycheck and it is going into a retirement account, a savings account, into something, and it's going every time you get paid, you're paying yourself, and that money is accumulating over. All right, so we talk about the generational method, right? So generational is I'm leaving money to the next generation, right? So this may be, and for a lot, in the audience and people that we deal with, their parents are leaving them something. Not necessarily sure what that is, but they're leaving them something. And the problem is a lot of times this money, Craig, you can chime in with, with the dealing with this too, is that it gets spent before it gets thought about how could I actually use this to be accumulating and saving more.
Well, I think there's a couple.
As we move into the conclusion with this, right? So wealth is one of those, we have this whole conversation that people don't like to talk about money. They'd rather talk about just about anything else, including their sex lives, instead of money. Because there's some, huge taboo with money and associated with talking about it. And we get hung up on the whole concept of, well, I don't really have a lot, or, it's I'm behind. Everybody always asks us, how we compare to other people or, other things. And I'm like, It's irrelevant because it's all about you. It's what you're trying to spend and what that means for you. Your expenses are different than, the guy down the street or the people in the next county or whatever the case may be. So some of these presentations, right, that, a goal without a plan is delusion, and a plan without execution, is basically useless, right? It doesn't do anything because you're really just setting yourself up to fail in that situation. And it talks about sort of setting that course, what we try to do with everybody. The idea there is we're trying in terms of going through that. So one of the things we offer for anybody who goes through and comes to the website or anything with us, like we talked about, we're just trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money. So, in doing that, the link, Craig should be dropping it into the, feel free to shoot them out to us at info@aresfoundation.org. You can always visit the website. That's aresfoundation.org. You can check us out, see what we've got on there, see what's coming up for events, and then you can contact us with the questions. If there aren't any, because it's all disabled at this